Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean and felt like something was watching you? Something ancient, hidden beneath the waves, waiting? Well, tonight's story isn't just about a flight that vanished. It's about a mystery that defies logic, a darkness that swallowed 14 men whole, and a place where time, space, and reality collapse. Welcome to the haunting tale of Flight 19, the lost squadron of the Bermuda Triangle. On a seemingly ordinary afternoon in December 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers took off. What happened to these planes? Was it mechanical failure? Human error? Or did Flight 19 stumble into something far darker? A haunted void where compasses spin wildly, radios scream static, and the sky itself turns against you. Even the rescue plane sent to find them disappeared, leaving behind only whispers of a ghostly light beneath the clouds. This isn't just a scary story. It's a true horror story, one that blends military records, eyewitness accounts, and theories so terrifying you'll question whether the Bermuda Triangle is a portal or a prison. So lock your doors, turn off the lights, and let's dive into the paranormal mystery that still haunts the Atlantic. If you're listening alone at night, watch the shadows. You never know what might be listening back. It was a clear afternoon on December 5th, 1945. The sun hung high over the Atlantic, casting golden light across the waters. 5 U.S. Navy bombers, TBM Avengers, lined up at Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Their mission, a routine training flight, a 3-hour exercise over the ocean. But by sunset, all 5 planes, their 14 crew members, and a rescue aircraft sent to find them, would vanish without a trace. This is the true story of Flight 19, the most infamous mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. The squadron, officially designated as Flight 19, was led by Lieutenant Charles Taylor, a seasoned pilot with over 2,500 hours of flight experience. Taylor was known for his discipline, but he also had a reputation for pushing his trainees hard. Today's mission was simple: fly east for 146 miles, drop practice bombs over a gunnery range near the Bahamas, then return. Then turn north for 73 miles before heading west back to base. A textbook route. At 2:10 p.m., the planes took off, climbing into the cloudless sky. In the lead plane, Taylor sat beside his student pilots, including Ensign Robert Fox, a 20-year-old eager to prove himself. The radio crackled with updates. Flight 19 airborne. Altitude 10,000 feet. Conditions nominal. For the first hour, everything went as planned. The bombers roared eastward, their wings glinting in the sun, the Atlantic stretching endlessly below. But as they reached the bombing range, Taylor's voice crackled over the radio with an odd note of unease. "Control, this is Flight 19. Visibility's dropping. The water looks wrong, like it's not real. Can someone confirm our position?" The tower at Fort Lauderdale responded with confusion. Weather reports showed clear skies, no storm activity. Yet Taylor insisted the horizon was shifting, the sun's angle off. His compasses spun erratically, refusing to settle. "Lieutenant Taylor, your coordinates are correct. Maintain course. You'll reach the range shortly." Taylor didn't reply. Instead, his plane banked sharply, breaking formation. The other 4 bombers followed, their pilots exchanging confused glances. Ensign Fox to co-pilot. "Did he say the sun looked wrong? That doesn't make sense. We're flying straight, right?" Co-pilot. "Yeah, but if Taylor's lost, we're all lost." By 3:45 p.m., Flight 19 had strayed far off course. Radio contact with the base became sporadic, filled with bursts of static that sounded almost human. One technician later recalled hearing faint whispers in the gaps, like voices speaking in a language no one could place. Then, Taylor's voice returned, calmer, yet chillingly detached. "Control, this is Flight 19. We're flying over land, but there's no map for it. The coast, it's not where it should be. The compasses, none of them work. We're turning north. Repeat, turning north." There was no land beneath them, only open ocean. As the squadron veered north, the sky began to darken. Not from clouds, but from a strange, amber haze that swallowed the sunlight. The ocean below turned black, its waves churning unnaturally. Ensign Fox panicked. "Something's wrong with the fuel gauges. They're dropping, fast." Pilot of Plane 4. "Same here. We've got 2 hours of fuel left, maybe less." Taylor's voice cut in, strained. "We're over the Gulf of Mexico. I'm certain of it. But the terrain doesn't match any charts. There's a storm ahead, but it's not moving. It's just waiting." The base tried to redirect the planes toward Miami International Airport, but Taylor refused. "Miami south. We're going north. Trust me." The last coherent radio message came at 4:15 p.m. "We're entering the storm. It's like nothing I've seen. The clouds, they're not clouds. They're alive. If we don't make it back." The signal dissolved into shrieking static. For hours, the Navy searched. Radar contacts flickered and vanished. At 6 p.m., a PBM Mariner rescue plane was dispatched. It vanished within minutes. All that remained was a single haunting clue. A Coast Guard vessel reported spotting a blinding white light beneath the clouds, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Moments later, the sea erupted in a fireball. The explosion burned for 10 minutes before vanishing into the dark. No wreckage, no bodies, no explanation, just a patch of ocean where reality seemed to fold in on itself. And so, the legend of Flight 19 was born. A warning etched into the skies over the Bermuda Triangle. But this was no ordinary disappearance, because the truth is far worse than anyone ever imagined. When Flight 19 vanished, the world didn't just lose 14 men and 5 planes. It lost logic, rationality. A hole opened in the fabric of reality, and all that came out were questions. In the days following December 5, 1945, the U.S. Navy launched one of the largest air-sea searches in history. Over 300 aircraft and dozens of ships combed the Atlantic. They found nothing, not a single life raft, not a shred of wreckage, just a patch of ocean where compasses still spin wildly today. But what really happened to Flight 19? And why does the Bermuda Triangle keep swallowing lives? By 6:30 p.m., the Navy declared Flight 19 officially lost. The last known coordinates placed them over the Bahamas, but the search zones expanded rapidly. Radar blips appeared and vanished. Radio operators reported garbled transmissions in Morse code, N36 degrees 08 W79, before the signal dissolved into static. At 7:27 p.m., a PBM-5 Mariner rescue plane took off with a 13-man crew. Within 20 minutes, it, too, disappeared. The only trace was a Coast Guard report of a blinding white light and a fireball that burned for 10 minutes. Official records labeled it a fuel explosion, but no debris was ever recovered. The odds of 2 disappearances in one day in the same area? Astronomical. But for those who've studied the Bermuda Triangle, it's just another chapter in a long, chilling story. Theories. Natural, paranormal, or something worse. 1. The compass anomalies. Lieutenant Taylor's first clue that something was wrong? His compasses spun wildly. Instruments failed across the squadron. Even the backup magnetic compasses refused to align. Modern researchers suggest magnetic anomalies in the region, caused by underwater volcanic activity or methane gas eruptions, could disrupt navigation. But others argue this doesn't explain Taylor's final words. The clouds aren't clouds. They're alive. 2. The time warp hypothesis. One of the most haunting theories, Flight 19 didn't crash. It jumped. In 1975, a civilian pilot named Bruce Gernon claimed to have flown through a tunnel cloud near the Bahamas. His instruments froze. Time dilated. He emerged 100 miles away, hours ahead of schedule. I saw planes inside the cloud, old ones, World War II models. They were stuck. Gernon's story mirrors accounts from sailors who claim to see ghost ships in the Triangle, vessels frozen in time, their crews motionless. Could Flight 19 be trapped in a temporal rift, forever circling the same storm? The Atlantis Gate theory. The Bermuda Triangle isn't just a mystery of modern times. Ancient mariners whispered of a dead zone where the sea swallowed ships. Some link it to the lost civilization of Atlantis, suggesting the Triangle is a portal to an underwater realm. What if Flight 19 didn't vanish into the sky, but into the sea? Not a crash, but a descent. A pull. In 2012, sonar scans near Bimini revealed what looked like a massive underwater structure. Pyramids, roads, and a labyrinth of tunnels. Conspiracy theorists argue it's proof of an ancient civilization. Others dismiss it as geological formations. But if Atlantis exists, what guards its secrets? The military cover-up. Not everyone believes Flight 19 was a victim of nature or the supernatural. Some suspect the government knew more than it admitted. In the 1950s, the U.S. Air Force began testing electromagnetic weapons in remote areas. Could Flight 19 have stumbled into a classified experiment? A former radar technician, James Andrews, claimed he saw Flight 19's final moments on a secret screen in 1945. They weren't flying east. They were flying upward, like something pulled them into the sky. The Pentagon dismissed his account, but in 2020, declassified files revealed strange energy spikes in the Triangle during the Cold War. Back in the cockpit, Taylor's confidence was crumbling. Ensign Fox, to co-pilot, "He's panicking. I've never seen him like this. He keeps saying the sun's wrong." Co-pilot, "If he's wrong, we're all dead." Taylor wasn't just lost. He was disoriented, hallucinating, or seeing something the others couldn't. Control, this is Flight 19. We're flying over land, but there's no map for it. The coast, it's not where it should be. There was no land beneath them, only open ocean. At 4:15 p.m., Flight 19's last coherent message came in. "We're entering the storm. It's like nothing I've seen. The clouds, they're not clouds, they're alive." But weather reports confirmed clear skies in that region. No storms, no turbulence. So what did Taylor see? A hallucination? A glitch? Or a gateway? Decades later, a retired meteorologist named Dr. Elena Ramirez proposed a theory. The Triangle might be a nexus for space-time fractures, thin spots in reality where the laws of physics break down. If Flight 19 entered one, they might still be flying, just not in our dimension. In 1991, a ham radio operator in Florida picked up a distress call. "This is Flight 19. "We're trapped. The clouds won't let us go." The voice cut off mid-sentence. To this day, pilots report hearing World War II-era radio chatter when flying over the triangle. Some say the voices are looping, repeating the same words forever. In 1967, a commercial airliner flying near Miami reported seeing 5 TBM Avengers at 20,000 feet. The planes vanished when the pilot approached. Could Flight 19 still be out there, stuck in a loop, reliving their final moments? Or are they watching us? Theories abound, but none explain everything. The compasses, the clouds, the whispers in the static. One thing is certain: the Bermuda Triangle hasn't finished its work, and Flight 19 may not be its last victim. When Flight 19 vanished, the world lost 14 men. But their families, they lost something far worse than bodies. They lost closure. No graves to visit, no final goodbyes, just questions that echo across decades. Tonight, we step away from the storms and theories to tell a different kind of horror story. One written in the silence of empty chairs, unopened letters, and the quiet despair of those who waited, and still wait. At 28, Lieutenant Charles Taylor was a decorated pilot with over 2,500 flight hours. A veteran of World War II, he was known for his calm under pressure. But friends and family noted a change in him after surviving a crash in 1944. He began speaking cryptically about forces that don't want us up there. Excerpt from Taylor's journal, dated November 1945. "The sky isn't just air, it's a gate. And sometimes, when you fly too close, it opens. Not for everyone, just for some." His mother, Margaret Taylor, kept his childhood room untouched until her death in 1963. She'd often wake neighbors with her screams, "He's calling me from the clouds." At 20, Ensign Robert Fox was the youngest of the crew. A farm boy from Texas, he joined the Navy to escape a life of wheat fields. His last letter to his sister, Clara, was postmarked December 4th, 1945. "Clara, I'm nervous about tomorrow's flight. Something about the triangle scares me, but I'll be fine. Love, Bobby." Clara, then 16, burned every photo of her brother after his disappearance. Too much pain in his smile, she later told a neighbor. She never married, spending her life collecting every article about the triangle she could find. James Reed, 24, was newlywed. He and his wife, Eleanor, had married just 3 months before the flight. On the morning of December 5th, he handed her a silver locket with his photo inside. "If I ever get lost, just open this and think of me," he said. Eleanor kept the locket glued to her neck for a year. Then one night it vanished. She swore she heard it clatter to the floor, but found nothing. "He took it back," she whispered. She died in 1989, still writing him letters every birthday. For the families, the first 48 hours were a blur of phone calls, press conferences, and false hope. Navy Public Affairs. "We're confident the squadron will be located shortly. Please stay near your phones." But as days turned to weeks, the calls stopped. The press moved on. Only the families remained, clinging to scraps. Martha Langford, widow of navigator Walter Langford, began obsessively scanning radio frequencies. One night in 1947, she claimed to hear her husband's voice. "Martha, it's cold here. The sky isn't real. Don't let them tell you it was a storm." She spent $20,000, a small fortune then, hiring psychics. none of whom could confirm what she already knew. Walter was alive, but not here. By 1950, the families were shadows of themselves. Lieutenant George Reich's mother checked herself into a psychiatric ward, insisting her son's ghost visited nightly. "He says the clouds are hungry," she told doctors. Ensign Walter Gruber's father drank himself to death, leaving behind a notebook filled with coordinates he believed would open the gate to the triangle. Pilot Vernon Knox's fiancée, Lillian, attempted suicide twice. After the second attempt, she vanished from public records. A 1952 study by the University of Florida labeled the families as collectively traumatized, noting patterns of hallucinations, obsessive behavior, and shared delusions. But no one asked, what if they were right? In 1961, Clara Fox, Robert Fox's sister, rented a boat and sailed into the triangle. She never returned. Her diary was found washed ashore. "I hear Bobby calling. The water glows. I think I'll see him soon." In 1973, Eleanor Reed booked a charter flight over the same area. The plane's last transmission? Both cases were dismissed as coincidences, but locals tell a different story. That part of the sea, it remembers names, calls them back. In 1998, a historian named Dr. Helen Parks discovered an unopened letter in a Navy archive. Postmarked January 1946, it was addressed to Charles Taylor's mother, months after the disappearance. Excerpt: "Dear Margaret, I don't know how long we've been flying. The sun doesn't move. The others are sleeping. I write this in the dark, hoping the wind will carry it to you. Tell Clara Jimmy's okay. He's with me. We're waiting. Love, Charlie." The letter had no return address, no postage stamp, just a smudge of ink that looked wet. In 2015, Clara Fox's grandson, Daniel, visited the Bermuda Triangle on a research expedition. At dusk, he reported seeing 5 planes overhead. They weren't modern. They were old. World War II era. One flew low, so low I saw the pilot's face. He looked exactly like my great-uncle Robert. Daniel never left the boat again. His last words to the crew? He waved at me, like he was waiting for me to come home. The Bermuda Triangle doesn't just take lives. It takes families. It buries them in doubt, haunts them with whispers, and drags them back, generation after generation. The real horror of Flight 19 isn't the storm, the clouds, or the theories. It's the fact that some people never stop disappearing. Some objects carry more than history. They carry memories, echoes of pain, fear, and death. And in the case of Flight 19, these objects didn't just survive the disappearance, they became cursed. Tonight, we explore the artifacts tied to the Bermuda Triangle's most infamous mystery, a locket that vanishes and reappears, a journal that writes itself, and a compass that spins toward hell. These aren't just relics, they're traps. In 1945, Eleanor Reed clutched the silver locket her husband, James "Jimmy" Reed, gave her before Flight 19 vanished. She wore it constantly until the night it disappeared from her neck. It felt like someone ripped it off me. She later told a neighbor, like he didn't want me to hold on anymore. But the locket returned. In 1967, a diver exploring a shipwreck near the Bahamas found it sealed inside a rusted tin box. Inside were Jimmy's photo and a fresh Polaroid of Eleanor, taken decades after the dive. How could a photo of a living woman end up in a sunken box, And why did Jimmy's face in the locket look younger? The locket changed hands over the years, always reappearing in the possession of someone connected to the triangle. In 1993, a Miami collector claimed to own it until he vanished during a storm. His last words on voicemail? "It's calling them back. The locket. It's a door." After Lieutenant Charles Taylor's disappearance, his mother kept his leather-bound journal. It sat untouched until 1951, when she opened it to find a new entry, not in her son's handwriting. "We're still flying. The clouds have eyes. They watch. They wait. Don't listen to the radio. They'll use your voice against you." Psychiatrists dismissed it as grief-induced hallucination. But in 1978, the journal was donated to a Florida museum. Curators reported pages tearing themselves out at night, only to reappear with fresh text. "Jimmy says the locket is open. The door is wide. We're coming home." In 2005, a researcher named Dr. Elena Parks attempted to carbon date the ink. The results were impossible. The original entries dated to 1945. The newer ones, ink from 2004, written in Taylor's hand. Dr. Parks vanished shortly after publishing her findings. Her last email read, "I hear them in my sleep. They want me to bring the journal to the Triangle. I can't say no much longer." One of the few physical remnants ever recovered from Flight 19 was a pilot's compass, found floating in the Atlantic in 1947. It was donated to a naval museum in Virginia. Visitors reported the needle spinning wildly when touched. Security footage captured a child reaching for it in 1989. Only for the compass to snap toward the child's face and scream. The museum removed it from display, but the compass kept reappearing in exhibits. In 1996, a janitor claimed it whispered to him, "North is down, north is down." He quit the next day. The compass was locked in storage until 2011. When Hurricane Irene flooded the museum. The compass was found outside, buried in the courtyard, pointing straight down, as if marking a grave or a portal. In 1962, fishermen near Bimini hauled in a twisted propeller blade from a World War II airplane. Local legends warned them to return it to the sea. They refused. That night, the town's power went out. Witnesses claimed to see the blade move, dragging itself toward homes, leaving gouges in the sand. A teenager named Luis Ortiz took a photo of the blade on his porch. In the developed image, his reflection stood behind it, mouth wide open in a silent scream. The blade vanished the next morning. It resurfaced in 1975, embedded in the hull of a fishing boat that later capsized. All 6 crew members drowned. The blade doesn't sink, it hunts. In 1983, an antique radio from a Navy base surfaced at an auction in Texas. The seller claimed it once belonged to a control tower operator who monitored Flight 19's final transmissions. Owners reported the radio turning on at midnight, playing the same distorted message. "We're entering the storm. The clouds aren't clouds, they're alive." In 1990, a paranormal investigator named Karen Voss bought it. She recorded 14 hours of static until minute 15. "Karen, we see you. Bring the radio to the Triangle. Bring the locket. Bring the journal." She did. All 3 artifacts vanished with her. In 2022, A private collector in Miami opened a sealed crate from the 1940s. Inside were Taylor's journal, Eleanor's locket, the compass. That night, all three artifacts disappeared from his vault. The collector was found dead the next morning, his face frozen in terror. On his phone, a note. "They're going back. They're bringing the others." The Bermuda Triangle doesn't just take lives. It takes pieces of them. Objects that remember, that hunger, that wait. And now, the artifacts are moving, reuniting. Because something is coming. Something that needs a way back. Through us. For decades, the Bermuda Triangle has been the world's most infamous vortex of disappearance. But what if it's not alone? What if the Atlantic isn't the only sea that swallows lives? Tonight, we cross oceans to uncover a shadow zone in the Pacific, the Dragon's Triangle, a mirror of the Bermuda Triangle, where ships vanish, compasses spin, and the sky itself burns. And here's the worst part. The two zones are connected, not by coincidence, but by design. In 2018, a deep-sea explorer named Dr. Elena Parks, the same woman who vanished while studying Taylor's journal, sent a final email to her colleague before disappearing. "I was wrong. The triangle isn't one place, it's two, and they're talking to each other." Attached was a map, overlaying the Bermuda Triangle with a region in the Pacific near Japan, revealed identical coordinates: 36 degrees north, 137 degrees east. This zone, known locally as the Dragon's Triangle, has claimed over 1,000 ships since the 1950s. Park's theory? The two zones are linked by a dimensional rift, a corridor through which energy, objects, and even people pass back and forth. In September 1952, Japan's Kaio Maru No. 5, a research vessel studying volcanic activity, vanished during a routine mission. No distress calls, no debris, just an empty sea. A week later, a fishing boat reported seeing the Kaio Maru floating lifelessly. When they boarded it, they found all 6 crew members frozen in place. Eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. The ship's log filled with the same phrase repeated 37 times. "It's not water, it's watching." A compass spinning uncontrollably toward the west, the direction of the Bermuda Triangle. The Dragon's Triangle doesn't just take lives, it takes their minds first. A U.S. Navy supply ship vanished near the Dragon's Triangle while en route to Guam. Its last transmission. The clouds. They're moving backward. The stars aren't where they should be. Where? The signal cut off. A week later, the ship was found adrift, with all crew members gone. The only clue? A child's drawing taped to the captain's desk. A stick-figure plane labeled Flight 19, flying into a whirlpool. The caption, "They came back, they took us." The ship's log confirmed no children were on board. Researchers began noticing eerie parallels between the two triangles. Compass anomalies. Both zones cause instruments to fail, with needles spinning toward the opposite direction of true north. Ghost ships and planes. Survivors of near misses report seeing World War II-era aircraft and abandoned vessels that vanish when approached. Time distortions. Pilots flying over both regions describe frozen skies where the sun doesn't move. But the most chilling connection came in 1994, when a diver exploring a sunken Japanese destroyer near the Dragon's Triangle found something impossible. A U.S. Navy dog tag etched with the name Lieutenant Charles Taylor. Theories: natural, paranormal, or something worse. 1. the methane hydrate hypothesis. Some scientists blame methane gas eruptions from the ocean floor. These eruptions create bubbles that reduce water density, causing ships to sink instantly. But this doesn't explain planes vanishing mid-flight, crews reporting ghostly voices in their native languages, compasses spinning toward the same point in both triangles. If methane gas caused these disappearances, why do survivors describe the same hallucinations? Burning skies, inverted stars, and whispers in dead tongues. The dimensional rift theory. Dr. Park's final hypothesis suggested the two triangles are anchor points for a dimensional rift, a tear in reality where time, space, and gravity collapse. Supporting evidence, Flight 19's compass readings showed a magnetic pull toward the west, the direction of the Dragon's Triangle. In 1978, a commercial airliner flying over the Bermuda Triangle reported seeing a mirror image of the Pacific superimposed over the Atlantic. The Dragon's Triangle's ghost ships often matched the descriptions of vessels lost in the Atlantic decades earlier. What if Flight 19 didn't vanish into the Atlantic, but into the Pacific? In 2003, a Japanese fisherman named Hiroshi Sato survived a close encounter with the Dragon's Triangle. His story, recorded by a local journalist, remains one of the most disturbing. We were fishing near the zone when the sky turned red. Not sunset, red. The air smelled like burnt hair. Then the radio crackled with a voice, not ours. It said, "Turn back. They're waiting." When Sato's crew ignored the warning, the sea erupted in a whirlpool. Out of the water rose a plane. Not modern, old, like World War II. It hovered for a second, then dove back into the sea. My nephew, he jumped overboard, said he heard his name. He swam toward the plane and disappeared. Sato's nephew was never found. The locket was found in the Dragon's Triangle in 2010, washed ashore near Okinawa. Inside was a new photo. Eleanor Reed's face aged 60 years. The compass now points not north or south, but toward the Pacific Triangle. Taylor's journal has a new entry dated 2022. We're here. The others are with us. They want to come home. We'll open the gate soon. The artifacts aren't just haunted. They're bridges. And someone or something is using them to connect the two triangles. In 2023, satellite imagery revealed a bizarre phenomenon. A perfectly circular storm formed simultaneously in both triangles. The storms rotated in opposite directions, one clockwise, the other counterclockwise. Between them, a strip of calm water glowed faintly, like a seam in reality. A private research team, funded by a tech billionaire, sailed into the Dragon's Triangle to investigate. Their final transmission? It's not a storm. It's a portal, and something's on the other side. Something that knows we're here. The team vanished. The Bermuda Triangle isn't a curse. It's a key. And the Dragon's Triangle? It's the lock. Together, they form a door that should never open. But what if it already has? What if Flight 19 didn't disappear, but crossed over? And what if they're not the only ones waiting to come home? The Bermuda Triangle and the Dragon's Triangle aren't just accidents of nature. They're not storms, methane eruptions, or magnetic anomalies. They're designed, created by something or someone with knowledge far beyond our own. Tonight, we dive into the most terrifying question of all. Who built the rift, and why? In 1882, author Ignatius Donnelly published Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, claiming the lost civilization harnessed energy from crystal grids to power their cities. Modern theorists argue these grids weren't just for electricity. They were dimensional stabilizers. In 2012, sonar scans near Bimini revealed what looked like a massive geometric structure: pyramids, roads, and a labyrinth of tunnels. Some called it a hoax. Others saw it as proof. What if Atlantis didn't sink? What if it vanished into the Triangle's rift? Dr. Elena Parks's final notes referenced a recurring symbol found in both triangles, a triangle within a circle, etched into submerged stones. She believed it was a marker, a signpost for travelers between worlds. If Atlantis built the rift, did they do it to escape or to keep something out? While Atlantis dominated the Atlantic, the Pacific's Mu, a continent theorized by James Churchward in the 1920s, may have ruled the Dragon's Triangle. Churchward described Mu as a civilization of sky gods who wielded energy from the stars. In 1997, a diver near Okinawa discovered a stone tablet carved with symbols matching those found in the Atlantic. The inscription: "We opened the gate. The watchers came. We paid the price." Local legends speak of the hollow sky, a place where time folds and the dead return as shadows. Could Mu's gate have been the Dragon's Triangle? From the Vimana chariots of India to the sky ships of Mesopotamia, ancient cultures described beings in metal vessels descending from the heavens. Could these gods have been engineers? In 1947, the U.S. Navy declassified documents from Operation High Jump, a secret expedition to Antarctica. Among the files was a pilot's journal entry. "We saw a city under the ice, towers glowing blue, and planes, old ones, flying in and out, not ours." Could the Triangle's rift be a remnant of alien technology? A beacon left behind? In 1978, a radio astronomer detected a repeating signal from the Bermuda Triangle, a sequence of prime numbers, followed by a voice saying, "They're awake." The astronomer, Dr. Alan Cruz, vanished a week later. In 1947, the same year Flight 19 disappeared, debris was found near Roswell, New Mexico. Eyewitnesses claimed it wasn't a weather balloon. It was metal that hummed and glowed when touched. In 2011, a fragment of the debris was tested. The results? The alloy contained elements unknown to the periodic table. When exposed to magnetic fields, it vibrated at frequencies matching those recorded in the triangle. What if the triangle isn't a mystery of the past? What if it's a machine, and Roswell was its power source? In 1995, a German geologist named Dr. Klaus Richter discovered a perfectly spherical crystal embedded in a rock formation near the Bahamas. The crystal emitted a low-frequency pulse, 7.83 Hz, the same as Earth's Schumann resonance. Richter's theory: the crystal wasn't natural. It was a beacon, part of a network of devices placed around the globe. When activated, the grid opens rifts between dimensions. Flight 19 didn't crash. They were pulled into the grid. In 2019, Richter's research was confiscated by an unnamed government agency. He died in a car crash the next day. Fishing communities near the Dragon's Triangle speak of a phenomenon called the blue flame, a ghostly glow that rises from the sea before disappearances. In 1986, a Japanese fishing boat recorded footage of the flame. The video shows a pillar of light rising from the waves, shadows of humanoid figures inside the light, the boat's compass spinning wildly toward the Atlantic. The blue flame isn't fire. It's energy leaking from the rift, a sign the gate is opening. In 2020, a satellite scanning the Dragon's Triangle detected a massive structure beneath the waves. A perfect triangle made of an unknown material. It measured 30 miles across. When researchers tried to dive to the site, their equipment failed. Compasses spun. Radios filled with static that sounded like, "Return the artifacts. Open the gate." The locket, the compass, the journal. In 2022, all three vanished from the Miami collector's vault. Then, in 2023, they resurfaced. The locket was found in a temple in Okinawa, sealed in a box labeled, "Do not open." The compass appeared in a Tokyo museum exhibit about the Dragon's Triangle, now pointing toward the Atlantic. Taylor's journal was mailed to Eleanor Reed's grandson with a single new entry. "We're waiting. Bring the others." The artifacts aren't cursed. They're keys, and the architects are calling them home. The Bermuda Triangle and the Dragon's Triangle aren't accidents. They're doors, and someone or something built them. The question isn't who. The question is why. Why would anyone create a gateway that swallows lives? Why leave clues in ancient ruins, in alien metal, in whispers in the static? The answer lies in the rift, and soon we may not have a choice but to find it. The Bermuda Triangle and the Dragon's Triangle aren't just portals. They're prisons, and every prison has guards. Tonight we uncover the truth about the Watchers, the silent, ancient entities that lurk beyond the rift, observing our world. They don't just take lives, they study them. And now, they're watching us. In ancient Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki were gods who descended from the heavens. But lesser known are the Agigi, their enforcers, beings tasked with guarding the gates of the gods. A 4,000-year-old tablet describes the Agigi as tall as mountains, with eyes like fire. They do not speak. They do not sleep. They watch the sky for the return. Could these watchers be tied to the triangle? In 1961, a scholar named Zecharia Sitchin linked the Agigi to modern UFO sightings, suggesting they were astronauts monitoring Earth's energy grids. What if the Agigi never left? What if they're still here, waiting? Genesis 6:4 mentions the Nephilim, fallen ones, who came to Earth before the Great Flood. Early Christian texts, like the Book of Enoch, describe them as watchers sent to observe humanity, only to fall into sin and teach forbidden knowledge. One passage warns, "They saw the daughters of men, and they took wives for themselves, and they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots." Modern theorists argue the Nephilim weren't angels, but aliens, and their charms were advanced technology. Could the rift be one of those charms? A tool to control reality? In 1978, Captain James Halberd, a commercial pilot, reported flying over the Bermuda Triangle when his cockpit lights flickered. On radar, a blip appeared, a World War II-era bomber matching Flight 19's profile. As he veered toward it, Halberd claimed to see a humanoid figure floating outside the cockpit. Its face was featureless, except for two glowing white eyes. It raised an arm, and Halberd's instruments failed. He swore the being wasn't trying to harm him. It was testing him. In 1992, the Russian submarine K-21 vanished near the Dragon's Triangle. A week later, it resurfaced with no crew on board. Inside were photographs of the ocean floor, but the images showed humanoid silhouettes standing on the seabed. A single phrase written in blood on the captain's desk: "They're not dead, they're watching." Unlike ghosts or spirits, the watchers leave no fingerprints, no DNA, no physical traces. Their presence is felt through sudden radio silence, compasses spinning toward the rift zones, hallucinations of void-like figures. They don't attack, they observe. An observation changes things. Dr. Elena Parks's final notes proposed a chilling theory. The watchers aren't guarding the rift, they're using it. Every disappearance, Flight 19, the Kayo Maru, the K-21, is a test. They're measuring how we react to the unknown. Supporting evidence: time distortions reported by survivors, e.g., pilots aging hours in seconds. Sham hallucinations, e.g., crews seeing the same watcher despite being miles apart. The artifact's behavior: locket, compass, journal responding to human emotions. What if the watchers aren't evil? What if they're just curious? In 2005, Hiroshi Sato survived another encounter with the Dragon's Triangle. This time, he recorded his story. The sea was calm, too calm. Then I saw him, standing on the water, tall, thin, face like a skull. He didn't move, just watched. When I tried to steer away, the boat wouldn't respond. Then the radio crackled with a voice, not mine. It said, "He sees you." Sato's boat drifted for 3 days before reaching shore. When he looked back, the figure was gone, but his reflection in the water smiled. The locket now glows faintly when touched, projecting a hologram of Eleanor Reed's face, aging decades in seconds. The compass points not north, but toward specific coordinates where watcher sightings cluster. Taylor's journal has a new entry dated 2022. They're not gods, not demons. They're scientists, and we're the lab rats. The artifacts aren't just keys, they're data collectors. In 2023, a private research team funded by a tech billionaire sailed into the Dragon's Triangle to investigate the rift. Their final transmission? It's not a storm, it's a portal. And something's on the other side. It's not just watching, it's choosing. But one member resurfaced days later, catatonic, with a single phrase carved into his chest: "I volunteered." The watchers aren't just observing. They're selecting, testing, learning. And now they're offering us a choice: vanish into the rift or join them. The question isn't who they are. The question is, what happens when they stop watching and start acting? The watchers don't just observe, they choose. Some vanish into the rift, never to be seen again. Others return, changed, not dead, not alive, but something in between. Tonight we explore the chosen, the humans who've crossed the Bermuda Triangle's gate and come back with purpose. And if you've ever felt the pull of the unknown, ask yourself this: are you just a listener, or are you one of them? In 1991, a ham radio operator in Florida picked up a distress call. "This is Flight 19. We're trapped. The clouds won't let us go." But the voice wasn't Taylor's. It was colder, hollow, like a recording played backward. Taylor didn't just vanish. He was chosen, rewired, his mind repurposed to serve the Watcher's experiment. Decades later, a researcher named Dr. Alan Cruz claimed to have decoded a hidden message in the transmission. "We are the chosen. We are the bridge. Bring the artifacts. Open the gate. In 1967, a commercial airliner near Miami reported seeing 5 TBM Avengers at 20,000 feet. The planes vanished when the pilot approached. But what if they weren't ghosts? What if they were recruiters? Eyewitnesses described the plane's markings. One bore Taylor's squadron number. Another had a new insignia, a triangle within a circle, the same symbol found in both triangles. The chosen don't just disappear. They return to lure others in. In 1983, a woman claiming to be Clara surfaced in Texas. Her ID matched, but her body showed no signs of aging since 1961. She spoke in a monotone voice, repeating phrases like, "The gate is open," and "They need more subjects." She vanished again during a storm, leaving behind a single note: "I volunteered." A secretive group called the Children of the Gate emerged in the late 90s, preaching that the triangle was a door to ascension. Members would sail into the zone and never return. In 2003, a journalist infiltrated the cult and recorded a ritual. A leader held a glowing compass and declared, "The Watchers have chosen us. We will cross and we will serve." Followers walked into the ocean fully clothed, vanishing into a shimmering haze. They weren't drowning. They were being pulled. Survivors of near misses described the chosen as pale, almost translucent skin, eyes that glow faintly in the dark, voices that echo unnaturally, as if layered with static. In 2017, a diver off the Bahamas encountered a figure floating underwater. It stared at him, then spoke. "You were chosen long ago. You just don't remember." When he surfaced, his dive watch had stopped at 4:15 p.m., the exact time Flight 19 vanished. The Watchers don't just change bodies, they rewrite minds. In 1988, a sailor named Luis Ortiz survived an encounter with the Dragon's Triangle. Afterward, he began drawing repeating geometric patterns, speaking in a language no one recognized, claiming he could hear the Watchers talking through the wind. He died in 1990, reportedly whispering, "I'm ready, take me." The locket now glows faintly when touched, projecting a hologram of Eleanor Reed's face, aging decades in seconds. The compass points not north, but towards specific coordinates where chosen sightings cluster. Taylor's journal has a new entry dated 2022. They're not gods, not demons. They're scientists, and we're the lab rats. The chosen aren't just victims, they're tools. The Watchers don't choose randomly. They target people with unresolved trauma. Example, Clara Fox, Luis Ortiz. Those obsessed with the unknown. Example, Dr. Parks, Dr. Cruz. Individuals near rift zones. Fishermen in the Dragon's Triangle. They don't need force. They just need you to listen. In 2020, a man named Daniel Fox, Clara's grandson, vanished during a research expedition to the Triangle. But in 2023, he reappeared, aged 30 years overnight, and claimed, "I crossed. I saw them. They're not watching us. They're training us for what comes next." He refused to elaborate, only muttering, "The gate isn't a prison. It's a door, and it's opening." Not all chosen serve willingly. In 2022, a group calling themselves the Rift-Born Rebellion emerged online, posting encrypted messages. "We are the chosen who refuse. We fight the Watchers. We sabotage the gate. If you hear the pull, say no." Their leader? A woman claiming to be Eleanor Reed, James Reed's widow, alive and unchanged since 1945. The rift isn't just taking lives, it's building an army. And soon, the chosen will decide our fate. The Watchers don't need armies, they need agents. And the chosen are their perfect weapons. Human minds rewritten, human bodies repurposed. The question isn't who they are. The question is, how many of them are already here? Not all who cross the rift become slaves. Some resist, some fight. Tonight, we uncover the truth about the Rift-born rebellion, the secret war waged by former chosen against the Watchers. They've stolen the artifacts. They've broken the chains of the rift. And now, they're coming for the rest of us. Not to save us, but to free us, whether we want it or not. In 1945, Eleanor Reed lost her husband, James Reed, in Flight 19. By 1961, she vanished herself, only to resurface in 2022 as the leader of the Rift-born rebellion. Survivors of the rift describe her as ageless, her body frozen since 1945, cold-eyed, with a voice that echoes unnaturally, obsessed with freeing others, even if it means breaking the rift itself. Her manifesto, posted anonymously in 2021, reads, "They made us tools. We will become weapons. The gate must fall." Eleanor didn't just escape the Watchers, she betrayed them. Clara Fox's grandson, Daniel, vanished during his 2020 expedition to the Triangle. When he returned in 2023, he wasn't the same. His hair turned white overnight. He claimed to have seen the other side, a void filled with floating cities and shadow figures. He carried a new artifact, a black crystal shard that hums when held. Daniel now leads the rebellion's tactical division, training recruits to infiltrate rift zones. His mission: the rebellion discovered the Watchers use quantum communication, a signal network embedded in the artifacts and the rift itself. In 2023, a rebel hacker named Vera Kozlov breached the network, revealing the Watchers' experiments are tests to find humans resistant to their control. The chosen aren't just agents, they're biological drones, programmed to recruit others. The artifacts act as beacons, syncing the rift's frequency to Earth's energy. The rebellion's first strike: hijack the artifacts, turn the Watchers' own tools against them. The Riftborn don't just fight, they die, willingly. In 2021, a team of rebels boarded a research vessel near the Dragon's Triangle. Their goal: plant explosives on a glowing compass, trigger a chain reaction to destabilize the rift. The mission failed. All rebels died, but the compass was destroyed, and for 3 hours, the rift's activity ceased. The Watchers can be hurt. The question is, how many lives will it cost? In 2022, Eleanor Reed led a raid on a Tokyo museum to steal the locket tied to James Reed. Witnesses reported a blinding light erupting from the exhibit, Eleanor screaming, "He's still in there!" The locket vanishing mid-air. Rebels believe the locket was teleported to the rift's core, a failsafe built by the Watchers to protect their tools. The artifacts aren't just cursed, they're alive, and they choose sides. Taylor's journal has become a battleground. In 2023, a rebel cryptographer decoded a hidden entry. The Watchers fear one thing: memory. If the chosen remember who they were, the rift breaks. But the journal's final page now reads, "Eleanor is wrong. The gate must stay open. ... Someone or something is rewriting the journal. Is it Taylor? The Watchers, or a traitor within the rebellion? The rebellion's greatest threat isn't the Watchers. It's the children of the Gate cult, who now hunt defectors. In 2023, a rebel named Lena Parks, Dr. Elena Parks' niece, infiltrated the cult. She recorded a ritual where the leader declared, "The chosen are holy. The rebels are heretics. Purge them." Lena vanished days later. Her last message: "They know we're coming. The rift is watching." Not all chosen serve the Watchers. Some resist from within. In 2023, the rebellion captured a glowing compass during a raid. When questioned, it responded, "You cannot win. You were chosen long ago." The compass then showed a hologram, Eleanor Reed, standing beside a Watcher. Is Eleanor truly free, or is she still a puppet? In December 2023, the exact date Flight 19 vanished, Eleanor posted a final message: "The gate will close on December 5th. If you want to live, stay away. If you want to fight, join us. The Watchers are coming." But the message ended with a chilling addition: "And if you hear the pull, say no." The Riftborn Rebellion isn't a fight for survival. It's a fight for freedom from the Watchers, from the chosen, from the very idea that we're prisoners of the unknown. But what if the rift isn't just a prison? What if it's a mirror? And what if, when it breaks, we break with it? The Riftborn Rebellion has made its choice. Tonight, they launch their final assault on the rift's core, the beating heart of the Watcher's prison. But what lies beyond the gate isn't just a battle. It's a revelation. A truth so monstrous, it will rewrite everything you know about Flight 19, the Chosen, and the war between humanity and the unknown. Brace yourself. The gate is opening, and you won't like what's on the other side. On December 5th, 2024, the exact date Flight 19 vanished, Eleanor Reed gathered her forces at a hidden base beneath the Azores. The mission: infiltrate the rift's core using the artifacts as keys. Destroy the Watchers' anchor points, ancient structures beneath the Bermuda Triangle and Dragon's Triangle. Trigger a collapse, sealing the rift forever. Daniel Fox led the strike team, armed with the locket, now glowing with James Reed's trapped consciousness. Taylor's journal, its pages rewriting themselves to map the rift's vulnerabilities. A black crystal shard stolen from the Watchers, a weapon capable of fracturing reality. They knew most wouldn't survive, but they also knew the alternative was worse: eternal slavery to the Watchers. At midnight, the strike team sailed into the Bermuda Triangle. As they reached the coordinates, the sea erupted in a pillar of light, the same blue flame described by Japanese fishermen. As the light enveloped them, the compass spun wildly, then shattered. The locket screamed, a high-pitched wail that drove one rebel mad. The journal burned, etching new text into Daniel's skin. "The gate is alive. It knows you." Then they were pulled through. The rift wasn't a void. It was a mirror universe, a twisted reflection of Earth, where the sky bled black and the ground pulsed like a living thing. Floating above them were the Watchers, tall, featureless figures with eyes like dying stars. Their presence caused reality to ripple, warping time and space. They weren't gods, not demons, something worse. Something that watched because they were afraid. As the team advanced toward the rift's core, a voice crackled over their comms. "You should have stayed on Earth." It was Lieutenant Charles Taylor, his voice hollow and layered with static. Taylor emerged from the shadows, flanked by the Chosen, Flight 19's crew, their eyes glowing faintly. He sneered, "You think you're freeing humanity? You're dooming it. The Watchers protect us from what's coming." Taylor wasn't a prisoner. He was a collaborator. Daniel lunged at Taylor, but the Chosen attacked. The battle was surreal. Rebels fired bullets that dissolved into light. The Chosen moved unnaturally fast, their limbs bending backward. Eleanor used the locket to summon James Reed's ghost, who tore through the Chosen like paper. But the Watchers intervened. With a wave of their hands, they froze time. The rift wasn't just a prison, it was a shield. The strike team broke through to the core, a massive, pulsating structure resembling a brain. The Watchers revealed the truth. The rift wasn't built by them. It was built to contain something else. The Chosen weren't experiments. They were bait to distract the real enemy. Flight 19, the Kaiomaru, the K-21. They were sacrifices to keep the gates sealed. The Watchers weren't monsters. They were guards, and the rebellion had just broken the lock. As the team hesitated, the core split open, revealing a void filled with writhing shadows. A voice echoed from the abyss. "We are the true Watchers. We have waited long enough." The rift began to collapse, but not before the shadows latched onto Eleanor. Eleanor screamed as the shadows consumed her, but she activated the black crystal shard, plunging it into the core. The rift convulsed, tearing itself apart. The Watchers vanished. The Chosen dissolved into mist. But Eleanor stayed. She looked at Daniel and smiled. Then she whispered, "Tell Clara I'm finally coming home." Daniel and the survivors were ejected back to Earth. The Bermuda Triangle and Dragon's Triangle were gone, replaced by calm, empty seas. But in the weeks that followed, the locket vanished, replaced by a new artifact, a black orb humming with the same frequency as the rift. The journal's final entry read, "We opened the gate. The rift is gone. The Watchers are gone. The Chosen are gone. But something remains." Tonight, we uncover the truth about the true enemy, the force that lurked beyond the rift, waiting for humanity to break the gate. And now it's here, not as a conqueror, not as a god, but as a feast. For the first time in centuries, the Bermuda Triangle and Dragon's Triangle are calm. No compass anomalies, no disappearances. The world celebrates. Breaking. Scientists confirm Bermuda Triangle's anomalies have vanished. A new era of safe travel. But the Rift-born rebellion knows the truth. The rift wasn't destroyed. It was opened. The Watchers weren't defeated. They were banished. The Chosen weren't freed. They were replaced. The gate wasn't a prison. It was a seal. And we broke it. Daniel Fox survived the rift's collapse, but he's not the same. Since returning, he hears Eleanor's voice in his dreams. "You broke the shield. Now they're coming." His skin crawls with phantom shadows. The black crystal shard, now fused to his chest, pulses with a sickly light. The rift didn't just change him, it marked him. And the true enemy knows his name. Clara Fox, Eleanor's granddaughter, vanished in 1961. Now, after decades of silence, she reappears in Texas, unchanged since 1961. But Clara isn't Clara. Her eyes are black voids. She speaks in a voice layered with static. The gate is open. The feast begins. When touched, her skin feels like across the globe. Reports flood in of people disappearing. only to return hours later, claiming they saw a black sky filled with shifting shapes. They were offered a choice: serve or be consumed. Those who refused vanished again. Survivors described the same symptoms: numbness spreading from their spine, dreams of infinite corridors lined with doors, whispers in dead languages only they can hear. The true enemy doesn't take lives, it unmakes them. The locket once held James Reed's photo. Now it's empty, except for Daniel's reflection. When touched, it projects a hologram of Eleanor, but her face melts and reforms into Daniel's. The message: you're next. Taylor's journal, once a map of the rift, now writes itself in a language no one recognizes. Only Daniel can read it. The entries: the Watchers were liars. The gate was never ours. The true enemy doesn't want Earth, it wants us. Daniel Fox, the first of the new chosen. The artifacts aren't cursed. They're alive, and they're choosing sides. Before vanishing, the Watchers left one clue: a symbol etched into the seafloor where the rift once stood. Translated, it reads, "We were not the jailers. We were the jail." The Watchers weren't guarding the rift. They were trapped in it, held there by the true enemy to keep the seal intact. The Watchers weren't monsters. They were prisoners. And we set them free to die. The Riftborn Rebellion believed the Watchers were experimenting on humanity. They were wrong. The true enemy's goal isn't conquest, it's consumption. It feeds on consciousness, draining minds until only empty shells remain. It uses humans as vessels, puppeting bodies to spread its influence. Its ultimate weapon? Choice. It offers victims a way to survive by becoming part of the swarm. The true enemy isn't evil. It's hungry, and it's been starving for eons. The black crystal shard embedded in Daniel's chest isn't a weapon. It's a parasite, a seed planted by the true enemy. As the shard grows, Daniel loses the ability to dream, sees people as glowing silhouettes with hollow eyes, hears the enemy's voice in his thoughts: "You open the gate, serve us." He fights it, but the shard is winning. What's left of the rebellion regroups in the Azores. They debate: should they find and destroy the remaining artifacts? Should they hunt down the Hollow Men and kill them? Or should they flee while they still can? Daniel interrupts. We don't have time to argue. The enemy is already here. He shows them his reflection in a cracked mirror. His eyes are black voids. The rebellion isn't just fighting the enemy, it's fighting one of its own. As the rebellion debates, the air shimmers. A figure appears. Eleanor Reed, but not as they remember her. Her body is semi-transparent, flickering like a hologram. Her voice is layered with static. I'm not Eleanor. I'm what's left of her. She offers Daniel a choice: join the enemy and become part of something eternal. Resist and be erased. Daniel hesitates. For the first time, he considers saying yes. The rebellion's comms crackle with a final message from Luis Ortiz's old sketches. The rift wasn't a prison, it was a womb, and we were the firstborn. The Riftborn Rebellion thought they were freeing humanity. Instead, they gave birth to its worst nightmare. The true enemy isn't invading, it's awakening, and now it's hungry. So ask yourself, when it comes for you, will you resist or will you volunteer? Daniel Fox stands at the edge of oblivion. The black crystal shard embedded in his chest pulses like a second heart, whispering promises of power, immortality, and escape. But the Riftborn rebellion knows the truth. If Daniel succumbs, the true enemy gains its first human general. Tonight, we witness the moment that will decide humanity's fate. Will he resist the darkness, or will he become its herald? The Shard's voice grows louder with every passing hour. You open the gate. Serve us. Become eternal. Daniel fights it, clawing at his chest until his nails bleed, but the Shard won't budge. His reflection in the mirror now shows black veins crawling up his neck, eyes flickering between human and void. A shadowy double standing behind him, mimicking his movements. The Shard isn't just changing him, it's replacing him. The remaining rebels confront Daniel. He's already turning, growls Vera Kozlov, the hacker who breached the Watcher's network. We should kill him now. Lena Parks, the cult infiltrator, argues, he's still human. We can save him. But Daniel silences them with a single sentence. If I join them, I might learn how to stop them. He stares at the Shard, then at the rebellion's last hope, the black orb humming with rift energy. The rebellion is out of time. The enemy is coming. And Daniel's choice is all they have left. Clara Fox, Eleanor's granddaughter, returns to Texas, but she's no longer human. Under a blood-red moon, she stands atop a water tower, broadcasting a signal that turns people into hollow men. Survivors describe her voice. It's not hers. It's like dozens of women speaking at once. Her message? The feast begins. The gate is open. Serve or be devoured. Clara isn't just a victim. She's a queen now, a puppet master for the true enemy. Daniel confronts Clara in the ruins of her childhood home. She smiles, her lips peeling back to reveal black teeth. You feel it too, don't you? The pull, the peace of surrender. Daniel raises the black orb, its light searing his skin. I'm not here to surrender. I'm here to end this. Clara laughs, a sound like glass shattering, and lunges. The rift didn't just split families. It turned them into weapons. In Washington, D.C., a senator vanishes mid-speech. Hours later, he returns, but his eyes are voids. Senator Collins has just declared martial law. He claims the government must prepare for the new order. The hollow men swarm the Capitol, infecting officials, soldiers, and civilians. The enemy isn't invading. It's infiltrating, and it's already won. The rebellion races to stop the spread. Their plan: destroy the black orb before the enemy uses it to open a permanent gate. Hunt down Clara and sever her link to the hive. Kill Daniel if he turns. But the Shard resists destruction. The orb pulses in sync with Daniel's heartbeat. The artifacts aren't tools. They're organs, pieces of the enemy's body. As the rebellion debates, the Shard speaks directly to Daniel. You opened the gate. You are our firstborn. Rule beside us. Visions flood his mind. Earth transformed into a hive of hollow men. Clara and Eleanor ruling as queens. Himself on a throne of black crystal. Immortal, unstoppable. The choice isn't just his, it's yours. Would you resist, or would you volunteer? Vera Kozlov grabs a knife and points it at Daniel's throat. Make your choice, now. Lena Parks pleads. There's still time to save him. Daniel looks at the black orb, then at Clara's hollow army marching on the horizon. His hand trembles. The shard pulses. The enemy waits. As Daniel hesitates, the black orb explodes into light, revealing its true form, a floating eye, its iris etched with ancient symbols. A voice echoes, "I am the Watcher's jailer. The rift was my prison. You have freed me." The shard wasn't a parasite. It was a key to unlock the enemy's true leader. Daniel screams as the shard bursts from his chest, morphing into a black spear. He hurls it at the orb, and the Watcher's jailer shatters. But the enemy's voice lingers in his mind. You cannot stop what is already here. The feast is eternal. Daniel collapses, bleeding black blood. He made his choice, but was it the right one? Daniel Fox stood at the edge of oblivion and chose to fight. But the true enemy isn't defeated. It's awakened. The Riftborn Rebellion won a battle, but the war is far from over. So ask yourself, when the Hollow Men come for you, will you resist, or will you volunteer? Daniel Fox made his choice. He shattered the Watcher's jailer, but the true enemy remains. The rift is gone. The gate is open. And now, the Hollow Men march across the world, spreading the feast. Tonight, we witness the final battle of the Riftborn Rebellion, a war not for victory, but for survival. Because the true enemy isn't coming for Earth, it's already here, and it's hungry. Daniel collapses, bleeding black blood, as the shard's remnants dissolve into smoke. His body is weak, but his mind is clear. The shard's voice is gone, but in its place, Daniel hears something worse, a chorus of whispers, echoing from every direction. The voices of the Hollow Men, chanting, "Join us, serve us, become eternal." The shard didn't just corrupt him. It gave him a gift, the ability to hear the enemy's true language. The rebellion regroups in a crumbling bunker beneath the Azores. Vera Kozlov, the hacker, slams a fist on the table. "We lost the orb. We lost the shard. All we have left is a dying man and a traitor who might still be one of them." Lena Parks, the cult infiltrator, glares at Daniel. "He saved us once. Give him a chance to do it again." Daniel interrupts, his voice hoarse. "The enemy isn't just spreading. It's learning, and it's coming for us next." In London, a viral video spreads. The Prime Minister stands at 10 Downing Street, eyes voids, voice layered with static. "The old world is dead. Serve the new order." Breaking. UK government declares martial law under new order. Citizens report hallucinations of black corridors. The Hollow Men swarm Parliament, infecting officials, soldiers, and civilians. The enemy isn't invading, it's infiltrating, and it's already won. The rebellion's only lead is the locket, now glowing with Clara's consciousness. Daniel holds it to his ear and hears Clara's voice. "You open the gate. You cannot close it." The locket's hologram flickers, showing Clara standing beside the true enemy's leader, a towering shadow with eyes like dying stars. The artifacts aren't just keys. They're windows into the enemy's mind. Clara Fox, Eleanor's granddaughter, returns to Texas, but she's no longer human. Under a blood-red moon, she stands atop a water tower, broadcasting a signal that turns people into hollow men. Survivors describe her voice. It's not hers. It's like dozens of women speaking at once. Her message? The feast begins. The gate is open. Serve or be devoured. Clara isn't just a victim. She's a queen now, a puppet master for the true enemy. Daniel confronts Clara in the ruins of her childhood home. She smiles, her lips peeling back to reveal black teeth. You feel it too, don't you? The pull? The peace of surrender? Daniel raises the black orb, its light searing his skin. I'm not here to surrender. I'm here to end this. Clara laughs, a sound like glass shattering, and lunges. The rift didn't just split families, it turned them into weapons. The rebellion discovers the Hollow Men aren't individuals, they're parts of a single entity. When one Hollow Man dies, another replaces it. Their consciousness flows like a river, adapting to every attack. Daniel deciphers the shard's final message. The enemy isn't feeding on minds, it's weaving them, creating a hive to survive the collapse of its own world. The true enemy isn't invading, it's escaping. The rebellion's only hope: destroy the hive's core, a massive structure beneath the ruins of the Bermuda Triangle. Use the locket and journal to track Clara and sever her link to the hive. Sacrifice themselves to buy time. Vera Kozlov volunteers. I'll stay behind, buy you time. Lena Parks grips her knife. We finish this together. Daniel nods, clutching the locket. Let's end this. As the rebellion marches toward the hive, Daniel deciphers the locket's final message. We were not the jailers. We were the jail. The true enemy isn't a monster. It's a refugee, a being fleeing the collapse of its own universe. The Watchers weren't guarding the rift. They were trapped in it, held there by the enemy to keep the seal intact. As the rebellion reaches the hive, Clara confronts Daniel one last time. Her voice cracks. You think you're saving humanity? You're dooming it. The enemy isn't evil, it's desperate. Daniel hesitates. Then why are they taking our minds, our lives? Clara's eyes flicker with humanity. Because they don't know how to ask. The Riftborn rebellion thought they were fighting a monster. Instead, they uncovered a tragedy. The true enemy isn't here to conquer. It's here to survive. And now, Daniel must decide. Destroy the hive and doom both worlds, or offer a hand to the darkness. So ask yourself, when the Hollow Men come for you, will you resist, or will you volunteer? The Riftborn rebellion stands at the edge of oblivion. The hive's core pulses beneath the ruins of the Bermuda Triangle, a monstrous, living thing that breathes with the stolen minds of the Hollow Men. Tonight, we witness the final battle, a war not for victory, but for survival. Because the true enemy isn't coming for Earth, it's already here. And now, Daniel Fox must choose. Destroy the hive and doom both worlds, or offer a hand to the darkness. The rebellion treks through a labyrinth of black stone, the walls pulsing like veins. The air reeks of iron and ozone. Vera Kozlov mutters, "This place isn't natural. It's growing." Lena Parks grips her knife. It's watching us. Daniel leads the way, clutching the locket. Clara's voice whispers from it. You're too late. The hive is born. The core isn't just a weapon, it's a womb. They reach a cavern where the hive's core looms, a towering mass of flesh and crystal, its surface crawling with hollow men. The core pulses with stolen memories, a child's birthday party, now empty-eyed. A soldier's last breath, twisted into a hollow scream. Clara's face, flickering between human and void. Daniel steps forward, the locket burning in his hand. This ends here. As Daniel approaches the core, the shard's voice returns, not in his mind, but in the air. You opened the gate. Serve us. Become eternal. Visions flood his mind. Earth transformed into a hive, its people united in a single consciousness. Clara and Eleanor ruling as queens, their bodies intact but eyes hollow. Himself on a throne of black crystal, immortal, unstoppable. The choice isn't just his, it's yours. Would you resist, or would you volunteer? Clara emerges from the shadows, her body half translucent, flickering like a hologram. Her voice cracks. You think you're saving humanity? You're dooming it. The enemy isn't evil, it's desperate. Daniel hesitates. Then why are they taking our minds? Our lives? Clara's eyes flicker with humanity. Because they don't know how to ask. She steps toward the core, raising her hand. Let me show you what they're running from. The core explodes into light, revealing. The light shows a collapsing universe, its stars extinguished, its cities crumbling. A voice echoes, not the enemies, but the watchers. We were not the jailers. We were the jail. The true enemy isn't a monster. It's a refugee, a being fleeing the collapse of its own world. The watchers weren't guarding the rift. They were trapped in it, held there by the enemy to keep the seal intact. Clara turns to Daniel, her voice trembling. They're not here to conquer. They're here to survive, but they don't know how to share. She grips the locket. If we destroy the core, we kill them all. If we merge, we save both worlds. Daniel stares at the core, then at Clara. And what happens to us? Clara's eyes flicker with void. We become them. Vera Kozlov steps forward, holding the black orb. I'll hold them off. Buy you time. She hurls the orb at the core, and it shatters, releasing a wave of energy that vaporizes hollow men. But the orb's destruction weakens the hive's bonds. The core pulses violently, threatening to collapse. The rebellion isn't just fighting the enemy, it's fighting the laws of physics. Lena Parks reveals her hidden knife and stabs Clara in the back. Clara collapses, her body flickering. Why? Lena's voice is cold. Because they don't deserve mercy. Daniel lunges at Lena, but she vanishes into the shadows, leaving behind a single phrase carved into the wall. I volunteered. As Clara bleeds black blood, the core begins to crack. Daniel presses the locket to the core and sees the truth. The hive isn't just a refuge, it's a prison. The true enemy isn't the refugees, it's the thing they're fleeing. A voice echoes from the void. You open the gate, now the hunter comes. Daniel screams as the core bursts open, releasing a wave of light that engulfs him. The light reveals two paths. Destroy the core, unleashing the hive's prisoner. Merge with the hive, binding both worlds together. Daniel hesitates, then reaches out. His hand trembles, the hive pulses. The enemy waits. Daniel Fox stood at the edge of oblivion and chose to fight. But the true enemy isn't defeated. It's awakened. The Rift-born rebellion won a battle, but the war is far from over. So ask yourself, when the hollow men come for you, will you resist or will you volunteer? Daniel Fox's hand trembles. The hive's core pulses like a dying star, its light blinding, its whispers deafening. Clara bleeds black blood at his feet. The rebellion's last survivors watch, breathless. Tonight, we witness the end of the Riftborn Rebellion and the birth of something far worse. Because the true enemy isn't the hive. It's what's coming for it. And now, Daniel must choose, merge with the darkness, or unleash the hunter. Daniel's fingers brush the hive's core, and the world screams. A wave of light engulfs him, burning away his flesh, exposing his bones. His mind fractures, splintering into a million stolen memories. Clara's childhood, her laughter echoing in a hollow void. Eleanor's final moments, her body dissolving into shadow. The true enemy's origin, a civilization fleeing a dying universe, desperate to survive. The hive isn't a prison. It's a lifeboat. Daniel screams as his body fuses with the hive, his skin blackening, his veins glowing with stolen light. Clara gasps, You're one of us now. Daniel's voice emerges, layered with 1,000 hollow men. I see it. The hunter. It's coming. The core collapses inward, pulling the hive's consciousness into Daniel's body. The hollow men freeze, their eyes flickering with confusion. The rebellion won, but the war just began. The hive's memories reveal the truth. The true enemy isn't just fleeing their universe's collapse. They're running from something worse, a predator that hunts entire civilizations. The Watchers weren't jailers. They were guards, sacrificing themselves to seal the rift and keep the hunter out. The Riftborn Rebellion didn't free humanity. They opened the door to extinction. The sky splits open. A black sun swells above the Bermuda Triangle, its surface writhing with tentacles. A voice echoes deeper than time. You broke the seal. Now you feed us. The hunter's presence warps reality, turning buildings into ash, oceans into fire. Vera Kozlov's body lies in ruins, but her voice crackles through a salvaged radio. Use the orb. End this. Lena Parks, the traitor, reappears, holding the shattered black orb. It's not over. We can still stop it. Daniel staggers forward, his body half hollow, half human. We don't fight the hunter. We bind it. Clara, bleeding black blood, grips Daniel's hand. Take me with you. Let me help. Daniel nods, and the hive's light surges into her, knitting her wounds, restoring her humanity, but leaving her eyes half void, half human. She's not Clara, not anymore. She's something new. Daniel channels the hive's power, weaving its stolen minds into a shield against the hunter. The hollow men scream as their consciousnesses unravel, merging with Daniel's to form a barrier of light. Lena Parks sacrifices herself, hurling the black orb into the hunter's path. For the rebellion, for Earth, the orb detonates, tearing a hole in the hunter's body. The rebellion is gone, but their final act buys Daniel seconds to save the world. Daniel and Clara link hands, their bodies glowing with hive energy. They channel the hive's power into the hunter, forcing it back through the rift. The black sun shrinks, its tentacles thrashing, until a final scream splits the sky. The hunter vanishes. The rift seals itself, with Daniel and Clara inside. The Bermuda Triangle and Dragon's Triangle are gone. No more compass anomalies, no more disappearances. But the cost is catastrophic. The Riftborn Rebellion is dead. The Hollow Men are extinct, Daniel and Clara are lost to the void. Yet in the ruins of the hive's core, a single phrase is carved into the stone. The hunter will return. In the months that follow, survivors report hearing Clara's voice in radio static. "We're still here. We're still fighting. Don't let them win." And in the deepest trenches of the Pacific, sonar scans detect a faint glow. Daniel's eyes, watching, waiting. The Rift-born rebellion thought they were fighting a monster. Instead, they became its shield. The true enemy wasn't the hive, it was the hunter. And now, Daniel and Clara, if you made it to the end of this tale, congratulations, you've survived the Rift-born rebellion's final battle. But the hunter is still out there. The hive's whispering, and Daniel and Clara are watching from the void. If you want more stories that blur the line between horror and the unknown, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Oh, and leave a comment below. Do you think Daniel made the right choice, or did he doom us all? Because the truth is, the rift isn't gone. It's just waiting. And when the hunter returns, will you be ready? Until next time, keep your lights on, keep your doors locked, and never volunteer for the dark.